any form of writings, but not yet in the booklet. So they call it a scroll. Now, after Jesus' resurrection, early morning when Mary first arrived at the tomb, and then she realizes that the tomb, the stone, has already been rolled out. And then there was a guy sitting at the portal of the tomb, and Jesus said, "Do not touch me, because I have not been yet to your Father, my Father, to my God, your God." That was very early in the morning of Sunday. But then at 9 o'clock, Jesus ascended to heaven. Or not before 9 o'clock. After the resurrection, up to the heavens. And exactly at 9 o'clock, there was a big celebration in heaven. That's recorded in Revelation chapter 5. Chapter 4 is a preparation for this coronation, like a coronation of a king. And chapter 5 is the actual coronation of the king. And in heaven, in the throne in heaven, there in this mercy seat, and here in this table of showbread, this portion here, and these compartments is divided into two, and these curtains divides the two compartments. Inside were the most holy place, outside were the holy place. When Jesus ascended to heaven, he came to this throne, these two loaves of bread. He did not get there. He did not go into the most holy place. At his resurrection, Jesus went to this throne. This is the throne where the Father seated and where the scroll on his right side. And no one can unseal this scroll. No one in heaven, no one on earth, except on chapter 5 of Revelation says Jesus himself. Because Jesus has a dual nature. He's got the two nature. He was a divine and he was the Immaculate Conception. Yeah, Immaculate Conception? What is immaculate? Like pure, no malice, it's beyond our understanding, isn't it? It's beyond, immaculate, that means no human being can comprehend how it is being done. It's immaculate. Sometimes we just use the word when you clean somebody's house, said, "Oh, you clean it so immaculate." You know, we just use that really well done. Because the birth of Jesus is so well done. No more, no less. Jesus' birth is not one day behind or one day ahead. His birth is exactly on time. How we know that? Now let's look first back. In the screen, let me forward a bit. Let's look at the history. I put it at the very end. Oh, it's not there? Sorry, it wasn't syncing. All right, so let's get back further to history. Because if we don't understand the history, these 7 seals makes no sense. Now let's get back the history. This is the sequence of kings and kingdoms since the beginning of time. From the head of gold to the arm and chest, silver, arms of silver, and then the belly, the thigh of bronze, and then you have the leg of iron, and you got the feet of iron and clay. This is the feet of iron and clay, and you got the stone kingdom. This is the sequence of the world event. Nobody can dispute this, even atheists, even agnostics, even the heathens. This history, no one can refute. This is exactly what is happening to where we are. So we are not talking here undocumented proof of history, but this is documented proof of history. If anybody will not believe on this sequence of kings and kingdoms, he must be not in this planet. Because Babylon is really documented that he was the head of gold. And even until today, Iraq, Saddam Hussein, he wanted to rebuild the golden years of the kingdom of Babylon. America said, no, you can't be, because you are transgressing the prophecy. So what happened in 1991? Operation Desert Storm. You see that? Next kingdom, after Babylon was Media and Persia. We had Jordan and Persia. And what is Persia today? A very superpower. And Persia, Iran today, is the pain of the new world. The Islamic religion here in Persia is now emerging against the Christian nationalists in the US, against Islam religion. Now, after that, we had Greece. Greece is, you had the media, you had Greece, you have the next kingdom after, and Greece takes the scepter, and then he introduces languages and medicines. And every form of education. Now, today, there is a compartmentalization of education. Yeah? And we shouldn't be stupid to think about this, because this is exactly what the Bible says. Compartmentalization of education. Now, in the field of medicine, how many compartmentalization in the field of medicine? Plenty. There is a specialist on the eye only. There's a specialist on the nose only. There's a specialist on your skin only. There's all specialization. This is called compartmentalization, and it begins in the kingdom of Greece. Begins there, kingdom of Greece. So you have the religio-political power, followed by a religio-political power, followed by another religio-political power, and then the fourth kingdom, another religio-political power, which is the kingdom of Rome. And you know, Rome, what they call, all road leads to Rome. Rome is a master designer of all roads and roadworks, public works and highways. This is their masterpiece. You name any irrigation system, you name any roadworks, you name anything, they're all under the Roman Empire. And then you have the tin toes of the United Western Europe. Now, why is God using these kingdoms? Why God using these kingdoms? What is the purpose of God using these kingdoms? Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, and then the 10 kingdoms in Europe. To spread the gospel. to spread the gospel, to tell the world. God is using these pagan nations to tell the world that there is a coming kingdom, the fifth kingdom, the kingdom of stone. The purpose of the road, so that we can travel to the very end of the world. That is the purpose of Rome. The purpose of Rome is to create a road so that we can have access to the people everywhere in this planet Earth. Because after the flood, every human being moved from place to place, and every part of the world there is a human being. And so road is so important to reach the people out. What is the purpose of Greece? Communication, so that the language can be reached out to every people, because in every culture there is a different language. Philippines had how many ethnic languages? 89 ethnic languages. How many ethnic languages in China? There's only one wall, but there's so many ethnicities in China. Over 900 ethnicity in China. Over 900. I'm not sure in Sri Lanka. I haven't been to Sri Lanka yet. Only 3. English, Filipino, and there must be Filipinos there, man. That's what they say. If there's a bottle of Coca-Cola, there must be a Filipino. Here is the philosophy. Media and Persia. These were coming out of philosophies. And here you had Babylon, the beginning of financial transaction, goods and services, all of that, to prepare a people for the coming of the next kingdom. And you see, these fit here are the 10 kingdoms in Western Europe. Now, you have the old world. I'm not sure, I think it's blurry to you. But these are the 10 western part of Europe. Now here the Vandals, this is down Africa. This is Africa here. Right? That's Africa. There, at the moment, I think Italy and Greece is there. Somewhere in that area. That's Mediterranean Sea. Now, let me go closer. Suevi, Spain. Visigoths, Portugal. Burgundians were Switzerland. Here is Lombard, is Italy, or Lombards there. Lombards is Italy, Germany, Alemany, France, Anglo-Saxon. Here is Scotland and Ireland. England, that's France, Germany, 10 kingdoms in the western part of Europe. The Bible says that in the days of these kings, Jesus will set up a kingdom. Now, when did Rome becomes a divided Rome? When is the collapse of Rome? Rome becomes from being a pagan Rome, and Rome becomes a conquered Rome, no longer under the Caesars, at 476 AD. 476 AD. Meaning 476 after the death of Jesus. Okay? 476. Rome did not exist no longer as a kingdom, but at 476, Rome fell into the hands of the 10 barbaric kingdoms. However, between 476 and 538, there was no Caesars in Rome. But Western Europe and western part of Europe were run under the bishoprics of Rome. There were bishops in Spain, in Vandals, bishops everywhere in these 10 barbaric kingdoms. So the 10 bishops rule this divided kingdom of Rome. And then Rome, of all the bishops, they have one on top. They titled him, his title is Maximus Pontificus. And under him, all the bishops. And Maximus Pontificus becomes papacy. 476 AD. And so the last, one of the most well-known emperor of Rome is Constantine the Great in 321 AD. Over 150 years before Rome was divided and run by the bishoprics of Rome. So from 538 AD, 476 to 538 under the bishoprics of Rome, and then from 538 AD, Rome ruled by Pontificus Maximus, called the papacy. And from 538 AD until 1798, papacy ruled Europe with an iron fist. Persecution was so severe. And so in this time frame, from Jesus' resurrection until very soon when he comes again, 7 seals takes place. All right? So the 7 seals begins here between Rome being destroyed and Rome destroyed. Being Rome before becomes a pagan Rome and becoming a Christian Rome. The 7 seals begin because Jesus' birth is during the pagan Rome under the Caesars. And then when Jesus died, it was Rome who gave him the death penalty to be crucified at the cross. It was Rome that destroys and persecuted the early church. And it was pagan Rome that persecuted the first 2 churches, Ephesus and Smyrna. And then Rome changes from pagan to become Christian under the rulership of Constantine the Great. So now you can see the 7 seals. And the 7 seals that we have been talking about is that the first 4 seals, when I should have a tie. You have a hair. Next time I'm gonna bring a tie. You got a tie? Thank you. So 7 of them. I just put 2, just for illustration. All right. So there were 7 of them. And every time a seal is being removed, there's an event here on earth. Jesus unsealed it in heaven, but the event is on earth. That's the 7 seals. So Revelation chapter 6. Let's open our Bibles very quickly. I think I just make a very fast and quick this one. It will take 10 minutes. 7 seals. So the first one, when Jesus removed the seal in heaven, Revelation chapter 6. When you get the chance to read at home, please do so at home when you get a chance. The whole chapter 6 of Revelation. This is the 7 seals. Or maybe up to chapters, only all chapter 6. Because chapter 7 is the 144,000. Now, there are 7 of them. When Jesus removed the first seal, it was a white horse. And in the white horse, conquer and conquering. The white horse represents the purity of the gospel, the purity of the message, the purity of the Bible, I would say. The purity of the scripture of the Old and the New Testament. This is the first seal. The white horse means pure. But this white horse, this purity, is going to conquer and conquering. It will not stop. This first seal, when Jesus opened the first seal, the white horse will conquer and conquering. Who to conquer and what to conquer? What is that white horse to conquer and conquering? Because this world is run and ruled by Satan. This world is ruled by Satan. Satan is the prince of darkness. Satan is in charge of planet Earth. He is our representative in heaven before the birth, the life, the death, and resurrection of Jesus. That's why Jesus must be born. Because if Jesus is not born, all humanity, our destiny is death. Because Satan's purpose is to kill you and to kill me, not to live forever. That is not Satan's intention. Satan's intention is not to give you an everlasting life. Satan's intention is to give you an everlasting death. That's why Jesus must be born. And the promised birth of Jesus is right there at the Garden of Eden when Adam and Eve disobeyed God. Adam has to kill the animal and make the skin of the animal their cloth. That's why Adam has to kill the animal just to get the cloth. At the same time, to get the blood. Abel and Cain is an example. Because both of them doing what is necessary to offer. But Cain did not do the right thing. He did an offering, but it was wrong. So, in the last days, in this conquer and conquering, this white horse, in the last days, there's only two groups of people. The one that will conquer and the one that is to be conquered. Isn't it? There's only two groups. If I am the conqueror and you are the thing to be conquered, there's only two of us. Me that about to conquer you, and you that about to pretend to protect being conquered. There's only two groups of people. And so the white horse is to conquer the territory of Satan. And when the territory of Satan is conquered, there are still other places in the world that did not know yet the gospel because they are still ruled by the darkness of Satan, by Satan's futility. The gospel will go there to conquer them and to conquering. It's a progressive tense. It continues on. The conquering will only stop when Jesus comes. But until he comes, the gospel will be going to conquer and conquering. Let's go to the second seal. The second seal in verses 3 and 4, now the second seal is a red horse. What is red? Blood. Because when you go to conquer and conquering, what happened? Bloodshed. 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 You cannot just conquer a nation without shedding of blood. Now, how many of us remember East Timor? Before they get their independence. How much blood of the innocent people shed? Look at Myanmar, Bangladesh. Who else looking for independence? If you seek an independent, bloodshed. Now, when the gospel, now this is important because this is what Jesus said. When the gospel, when the Bible will come to a person, when a gospel will come to a person, it's gonna hurt because it's gonna bleed. Because the gospel will cut you off. The gospel will cut you off from your mindset. And when you detach yourself from your mindset, it hurt. It hurt. How many husbands and wives divorced because of the Bible? How many children disowned because of the Bible? How many preachers beheaded or in prison because of the Bible? Millions shed their blood because of the gospel. That's why the second horse is red. Because once the gospel will comes to you, it hurt. Because the gospel will take you out from darkness into His marvelous light. But this marvelous light is not so marvelous that it makes you a very famous, but it's marvelous because sometimes it may cause death. So this is the second message. The third horse, the third seal. When Jesus removed the third seal, what's the color of the horse? Black. Yeah, black. Because what's after bleeding? Brings death. So the gospel, the Bible, when you really live by the Bible and the Bible alone, you don't care about anything else. If you live by the Bible alone, it would be dark. Let's read what it says here in Revelation. Revelation chapter 6. And there went another horse. Let's read in verse 5. I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and said unto her, the oil and the wine. Now, what are these barley, wheat, oil, and wine? What are they? Essential for our existence. They're food. They're food. This is food. This is food. Our basic needs. And so when you start to believe the Bible, sometimes our basic needs has been removed from us because you follow the gospel. Can you imagine what's the rate of working on Saturday? It's a high rate. It's a high rate on Saturday. If you work on the weekdays, you work 2 days on the weekdays and 1 weekend, it's enough to cover for the whole week. You know, so this basic necessity becomes not available because you are now outside the conquered territory of Satan. Because Satan in his territory provides you with barley, with wheat, with oil, with wine. You have to enjoy the pleasure of this world. But when you detach yourself from his territory and to follow the gospel, then maybe you have no food to eat. And we experience that. Not only that we are not able to accumulate what we have because we detach ourselves from the world, but because also Satan will bring disaster into the world. He will bring famine. He will bring pestilences, becomes a desolation. He will make earth very unpleasant if you begins to follow the Bible. He will make the world unpleasant. He will remove loved ones from you. He will remove your houses. He will remove your assets. He will bring anything. It is Satan who will bring all these calamities. If you look at the Bible from Genesis until Revelation, all of these calamities is not made by God. It's all made by Satan. So, a measure of a wheat by a penny. What is a penny? A coin. Yeah, a coin, a penny. That is a smaller part of a denarius. Yeah, a denario is one denarii is like a whole year. Is that a one-day wage? Yeah? And a penny is a money for the poor people, for the tradesmen. So the landlords had denaries, the workers had pennies. Put that way. So the rich and the poor. Now to the poor people, one measure of barley for a penny. Let's say one loaf of bread for a penny. But then as well it says that 1/3, is that 1/3 of a wheat for a penny. So a barley, for example, this is 1 penny, but 3 parts of this is 1 penny for the wheat. So the wheat is for the poor's food. Now, if the barley can feed 4 people, a wheat can only feed 1/3. So only 1/3 of the family can eat. So the black horse, after the white, which is the purity, then you have the bloodshed, red, then you have the black, means famine and pestilences. This is the effect. This is the effect of the gospel. This is the effect of the Bible, of the gospel, when people believe the gospel. Now let's go to the 4th, pale horse. Yeah, let's go to the pale horse quickly. And the pale horse, you open the 4th, and it's pale, and his name is death. So once you have the pure gospel, you follow the Bible, and then the conquered now is following Jesus. To the conquered, Jesus said, your water and your bread is sure. To the conquering between the non-faithful and the people that still part in the dominion of Satan, after that they had all these calamities, the next thing to happen is death. Persecution. There was death. But their death, it says, and power in verse 8, and power was given unto them over the 4th part of the earth to kill with sword and with hunger and with death and with the beasts of the earth. This is the result of the people who refuse to accept the gospel. And so this event, these 7 seals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, these are the events from Jesus' time until he comes again. And on the seventh seal, let's move to the seventh seal. When he opened the seventh seal, that would be in chapter 8, in verse 1. This will be our discussion next Sabbath, but I will just give an overview to this one. Chapter 8. So chapter 7 is a chapter between the sixth and the seventh seal. It's an interlude, but we will say that one later. But let's go to the seventh seal. And when he opened the seventh seal, the seventh seal will bring us, let's bring back. The seventh seal, when he opened the seventh seal, it will bring us back to the golden altar. When we go to the seventh seal will bring us here to the golden altar. The seventh seal will be the ministry of Jesus, the daily ministry of Jesus. It will bring us back here on the altar of burnt offering, where God appoints the 7 angels to blow the trumpet. That's on the seventh seal. But on the seventh seal, this blowing of the trumpet and here on the altar is to make ready, because the coming of Jesus is very soon on the seventh seal. But that will be our subject for next Sabbath. Now, the important part of the seventh seal is that we will understand the line, the time frame, the history, the time where we are in. And the 7 seals beginning from Jesus' resurrection in heaven, resurrection until gaps into heaven, until his second coming. Right now, we are in between the 6th and the 7th trumpet and the 6th and the 7th seal, where we had to proclaim the gospel because it conquered and it's conquering. There are still portions of this planet that did not hear yet the gospel, the good news. As what Pastor Mark said, the 3 angels' message. This is the purpose, this is the reason why you are here, so that we can go out and tell the streets here in this area the 3 angels' message. We're not just going to say